Hi, I'm Tom, and this is AC On, the short Alpha Clash podcast, where I talk all things Alpha Clash on my way to work. And, we're still doing spoilers. So let's talk about the red card that came out. Sorry. The next set, Equilibrium, is due to release the 28th of March, which is just around the corner. It's like the end of next month. But just to show how much is actually happening in the world of Alpha Clash, between then and now, we are going to get an audiobook of The Awakening, first novel, which I think is fantastic. I read the book. I am saving Audible credits for the audiobook as well. Hopefully, I don't actually know if it's going to Audible, but I just kind of hoped. But that is coming out. It should be out yet January, but it's slightly late, I suppose. No matter. And the Kickstarter for Cosmic Conquest, the board game, will be starting here. We just got a date, 25th of February. That will start and end probably before the release of Equilibrium. All of that is absolutely bonkers. So we will get a whole new game, a Kickstarter campaign running, and we'll get the audiobook before the set. And we are almost done with spoiler season for it. And just in a hot minute, there will be Clash Grounds in Pasay and Las Vegas, and pre-releases and all the rest of it. Amazing. It is truly a fast-moving world, the world of Alpha Clash. So, hang on for dear life. Let's go. One of the things I like about spoilers, though, for trading card games, especially, because that's a different ecosystem than much else in the world. What I like about the spoiler season is this glimpse we get in. I think we all like spoilers because we get a glimpse into what is coming in the next set, and you start dreaming about all the decks we want to build and stuff like that. But what's especially cool, was also cool, is that sometimes, you get a glimpse into strategies that tells you that the developers of the game is always a set or two or three or how many more they are ahead of us. So we sort of get a glimpse into not just the set we're waiting for, but the next one as well. And the two cards we got today, one of them is going to... I want to touch on two cards, and one of them I think sort of gives us a hint of what might come. Now, let's just dig into it, right? The first card is Paul, the True Waiter, or something like that. I'm driving, so I can't read. The Paul card is a red card, and what it does is it introduces a mechanic that I really enjoyed in Magic, called Proliferate. Now, sort of. So what it does is that it has a trigger enter ability that says it does two things. One, any counter on cards on permanents you control will get an extra one of those counters. Now, that's one step. The other thing is that a target opponent, I think it was target opponent, target opponent get another copy of any token they may have. Now, he has a sort of a return mechanism built in as well. Then, if it's a clash card, so when he is defeated, you can sacrifice another pool clash card, and then instead of discarding him to your oblivion, you shuffle him into your deck. So you sort of revitalize him by that mechanism and get a chance to get him back, keeping the odds of drawing him up, which is cool. Now, the more interesting part, though, is this proliferate and token growth. Now, as far as I know, there are no bad tokens, meaning there are no tokens I want to give to my opponents that is not bad for me, or at least good for them. Whether that is war minions or Nova tokens, or I guess you can give them an Eternal Dragon, so they have two. I don't know how exactly that works if one disappears. Anywho, I don't know why you want to do that, except for Gambit. So this is, and there's another, I can't remember the name of, where you draw a card and your target opponent draws a card. Or really, target player and target other player draws a card. Another pole card coming up. Both of those, and especially this one, seems very much geared towards Gambit, the multiplayer format, which is, if it's not, well, in and of itself, that is interesting that cards are not just made specifically for one or the other, but they can sort of bridge. We've seen quite a few in the wordings. You also target opponent, where you in a 1v1 you go, well, that's the other one, that's the other guy, right? But here in the red cards we see now, we sort of get this notion that there could be more opponents, and you want to treat them differently. So are we good? Maybe we're starting to see a red group hot deck, something. Anywho, so he has this ability, so you want to give a token away to your opponent. That is fine if they're not playing with tokens. The other part is that your counters get proliferated. Now, I like proliferate, but the thing is, with this, and this is what I meant by it, we sort of get a glimpse into what might be showing up. As of right now, we have bounty counters. I don't want more of those if they're on something I control. We have streak counters in blue. We have collection counters also in blue. And I'm thinking, am I missing something? I don't think I am. Are there counters in black? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. So we do streak counters, we do collection counters, we do bounty counters, and then the odd one out. But they're all in blue. And this pool card is red. Now, either we're leaning into a blue-red strategy where pool and mean streak is collaborating. That might be a thing. But pool leans into alpha hunters as well, sort of a faction thing. And mean streak is not an alpha hunter; he is an alpha. So, which one it is, or if it's something completely different, like another type of counter, that'd be really interesting. I haven't seen any of the spoiler cards for this season for Equilibrium that put counters in red. So there's a hint for the future, for future styles and future play styles. Now, it does happen from time to time. There's a one-off sort of card. So I'm not going to buy a case of Equilibrium hoping to to start building a proliferate deck, but it is interesting that the mechanic is not out of the not out of the scope at all. So that's the first card. The second card, the second red card I want to talk about. They're all red. The second red is Moxie, the Iron Valkyrie. Now, she has two effects. She is also a clash card, and she has two effects. One is that if you control a Weapon contender, if your contender is Weapon, you get, I think, a badge. So it's 0, giving your thing 0/1. Now, why Weapon would want badges, I don't know. He does care about weapons, he being an alpha hunter, but and there is a synergy red-black with alpha hunters, but why he would care about badges per se? He's more grenade type, and he's got a really cool grenade, which I could have covered as well. But whether this will make any, it doesn't make any sense to me that he should get a badge. Now, to be fair, badges are weapons, and they do buff the stats of your things. So maybe sort of a protection thing. Sure. And Iron Valkyrie is a common card, so it's not meant to have big, huge, game-changing effects. But that's not the interesting part about Iron Valkyrie. The interesting part about Iron Valkyrie is the other effects, because she has a trigger enter effect as well. That only triggers if your contender is an Edwards card. Edwards contender. Now, I don't know if you know, but we don't have an Edwards contender. Or we don't have an Edwards contender yet. Which makes it... So we know who Edwards is. Edwards is Colonel Edwards, which is Moxie's boss in the storyline. But he has not shown up as a contender. He's on, I think, a handful of cards, doing, among other things, trying to get your weapons in hand. But he's not a contender, at least not yet. Now, will he come? Will he become a contender? Well, probably. I guess. The thing that tickles me here is how many sets ahead, sort of in ideas and storylines, they have to be in order to commit to an Edward. Maybe it's not that big of a commitment, because he is a character, and we sort of get the characters from the stories presented to us. So maybe it's not that far off, but sure. But far off the scope of reality, so to speak. But the thing is that we are going into the cosmic block now. Equilibrium is, as far as I understand it, the last set before we hit Cosmic Block. And Cosmic Block is this is a block set in, I think it was up until 9. So the next, so set 6, 7, 8, and 9. The next 4 sets will be in Cosmic Block, meaning the same storyline, the same part of the storyline as Cosmic Conquest, the board game. So the characters there, and Edwards was not even a glimmer in his parents' eyes when this is said. Because that is like, I can't remember, 10,000, loads of years ago. So that's not, we're not even close to having an Edwards in the next set. Unless there is a different Edwards, I don't know. But from the contenders we've seen in the board game, which is what I suspect we'll be seeing in the card game as well, they sort of hinted at that. There are no Edwards in that. So maybe this is sort of a lure for something to come in set 10. Sure, I'm in. Let's see it. But it is fun to see sort of the hints of the future. Would I guess that at some point will be a Colonel Edwards card as a contender? Sure. He might even come out in this set, but in Equilibrium, but he's not. We know that. So really, really interesting to see how how he just casually pops up on a common card with no real effect, because you can't have that kind of contender. Anyway, I am now approaching my work, so I'll better sign off from this. If you like this content, please share it. There is a growing number of listeners. I'm very, very happy about that. But we can grow more. So if you like this content, find it useful, please share it. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.